I watched my granddaughter's hand freeze over the fabric scissors, her face draining of color as Mrs. Volkov's words hung in the air between us. The old woman had just told Emma she was wasting her life studying marine science, that she should abandon her dreams to stay here and cut cheaper fabric for entitled customers like her. My blood went cold, then hot. I'd been standing in the back room, folding bolts, listening to this woman tear down my granddaughter's future like it was nothing more than a piece of scrap material. Emma stood there speechless, her 20-year-old face struggling to process such casual cruelty. Mrs. Volkov leaned against the counter, her wrinkled hand drumming impatiently on the glass top, waiting for a response that validated her worldview. A worldview where young people existed solely to serve her convenience. I stepped out from the back room. My orthopedic shoes squeaked against the linoleum floor. Mrs. Volkov's eyes flicked toward me, then back to Emma, dismissing me as irrelevant. After all, I was just the old woman who sometimes worked the register. She had no idea I was Emma's grandmother. She had no idea what was about to happen. "Emma, take your break," I said quietly. My granddaughter looked at me with relief flooding her features. She practically ran to the back room, leaving me alone with this woman who thought the world owed her everything. Mrs. Volkov sighed dramatically. "Finally. Now I need 0.2 meters of this satin. Your husband always refuses, but Emma understands customer service." "My husband is dead," I said flatly. "That's my brother who owns this store. And no, you're not getting 0.2 meters of anything." Her eyes narrowed. "Who are you?" "I'm Margaret Chen, Emma's grandmother, and I've been listening to you destroy that girl's confidence for the last 5 minutes." I was giving her practical advice. The ocean is dying anyway. Why waste time on something hopeless? Something inside me snapped clean in half. I'd spent 43 years as a high school guidance counselor, watching kids get beaten down by adults who projected their own failed dreams onto the next generation. I'd retired 5 years ago, thinking I was done fighting those battles. But here it was again, in my brother's fabric store, aimed at my own granddaughter. "Get out," I heard myself say. Mrs. Volkov blinked. "Excuse me?" "You heard me. Take your fabric samples and leave. You're not welcome here anymore." She straightened up, her face reddening. "You can't ban me. I'm a loyal customer. I spend hundreds of dollars here." "You spend maybe $60 every 2 weeks, and you bully my granddaughter into breaking store policies so you can save $3 on satin scrunchies. That's not loyalty. That's manipulation." "I'll talk to the owner. Your brother will never allow this." "My brother has been complaining about you for a year. He'll throw you a party when he finds out you're gone." Mrs. Volkov grabbed her purse, her hands shaking with rage. "You're making a terrible mistake. I know people. I'll ruin the store's reputation. Then I'll tell everyone how you told a marine science student that saving the ocean is pointless. Let's see how that plays on social media." She opened her mouth, closed it, then turned on her heel and stormed out. The bell above the door chimed violently as she slammed it behind her. I stood there, breathing hard, my heart hammering against my ribs. At 71, I probably shouldn't have let my blood pressure spike like that, but watching Emma's face crumble under that woman's words had triggered something fierce in me. Emma emerged from the back room, her eyes red. "Grandma, you didn't have to do that. Uncle Robert's going to be upset about losing a customer." "Your uncle will survive. You, on the other hand, need to understand something." I pulled her into a hug, feeling how small she still was, despite being taller than me now. "Your dreams matter more than some stranger's fabric budget." She pulled back, wiping her eyes. "But what if she's right? What if I'm wasting my time? The ocean is really polluted, and climate change is getting worse, and sometimes I wonder if anything I do will actually matter." There it was, the real damage. Mrs. Volkov hadn't just been rude. She'd planted seeds of doubt in fertile soil because Emma already had those fears. Every passionate student did. "Let me tell you something about waste," I said, guiding her to the chairs by the window. I spent 4 decades counseling teenagers. You know how many kids I had who wanted to be marine biologists, oceanographers, environmental scientists? Dozens. You know how many actually did it? 3. Not because they couldn't, but because someone told them it was impractical, useless, a waste. What happened to them? 2 became accountants, 1 sells insurance. They're fine. They're successful. But every single one of them, when I see them around town, has this look in their eyes, like they're living someone else's life. I squeezed her hand. Don't be that person, Emma. Don't let bitter strangers steal your purpose. She nodded slowly, but I could see the doubts still lingering. Mrs. Volkov's poison would take time to work out of her system. The door chimed again. A young mother came in with 2 kids, looking for fleece for blankets. Emma went to help her, slipping back into customer service mode. I watched her measure and cut, explaining the different weights of fleece with patience and knowledge. She was good at this job, but it wasn't her calling. My phone buzzed. A text from my brother Robert. Heard you banned Mrs. Volkov. Thank you. Drinks on me tonight. I smiled and texted back, Emma needs the night off too. She's had a rough day. Done. You're a good grandmother. I pocketed my phone and looked around the store. My grandfather had opened this place in 1952, selling buttons and thread to housewives who made all their family's clothes. My father had expanded it in the 70s, adding quilting supplies. Robert had modernized it 15 years ago, bringing in designer fabrics and hosting sewing classes. 3 generations of family history woven into every bolt of cloth on these shelves. It was important. It mattered. But it wasn't more important than Emma's future. The young mother checked out, thanking Emma profusely for her help. Emma smiled, but it didn't reach her eyes. She was still processing everything. After the woman left, Emma turned to me. Grandma, can I ask you something? Anything. Why did you become a guidance counselor? I hadn't expected that question. Because my mother told me I couldn't be a lawyer. She said women didn't do that I should be a teacher or a nurse, something appropriate. But you didn't listen. I compromised. I became a guidance counselor, which was close enough to satisfy her, but let me spend my career helping kids fight for their dreams. It was the best I could do in 1973. I met her eyes. You don't have to compromise anymore, Emma. You can be exactly what you want to be. I'm scared, she whispered. Good. Fear means it matters. Do it anyway. She hugged me again, tighter this time. Thank you for kicking her out. Anytime, sweetheart. I've got at least 10 more good years of kicking people out. Maybe 20 if I keep up with my yoga. She laughed, finally, and the sound made my heart lighter. The rest of the shift passed quietly. A few regular customers came in, bought their supplies, left without drama. Normal retail therapy for people who actually enjoyed sewing. At 6, Robert came in to close up. You really told off Mrs. Volkov? He asked, grinning. I may have been a bit harsh. Margaret, you're 71. You've earned the right to be harsh to people who deserve. He started counting the register. Emma told me what happened, what that woman said. It was cruel. It was jealous. He looked up at, you know what Mrs. Volkov told me once? She said she wanted to be a fashion designer when she was young, but her parents made her marry a man who owned a grocery store. She's been making scrunchies at farmers markets for 30 years, telling herself it's the same thing. That stopped me cold. I didn't know that. Miserable. People want company. They can't stand watching young people chase dreams they gave up on. He closed the register drawer. You protected Emma from becoming her. We locked up together, the 3 of us walking out into the December cold. Snow was starting to fall, light flakes that caught in the streetlights. Emma headed to her car, waving goodbye. Robert and I stood there for a moment, watching her drive away. She's going to be fine, Robert said, because she has you. I hope so. But as I drove home that night, I couldn't shake the feeling that something bigger had shifted. Mrs. Volkov wasn't the only person who'd try to discourage Emma. The world was full of people who'd tell her that saving the ocean was pointless, that climate science was political, that she should do something more practical. One grandmother couldn't shield her from all of that. Emma needed armor, real armor, the kind that came from deep, unshakable conviction. I spent the next 3 days thinking about it. Emma had finals coming up, then winter break. She'd be back at the store, working long hours, surrounded by customers and their opinions. Some would be supportive, others would be like Mrs. Volkov, dripping poison disguised as practical advice. On Thursday, Emma came over for dinner. I made her favorite, chicken parmesan with garlic bread. We ate and talked about her classes, her research project on ocean acidification, her plans for next semester. She was animated again, excited, the light back in her eyes. After dinner, I pulled out a box from my closet. I want to show you something. Inside were letters. Dozens of them, in different handwriting, on different paper. Some were typed, some handwritten. All were addressed to me. What are these? Letters from my former students. They send them every few years, updating me on their lives. I pulled out a specific one, yellowed with age. This is from Marcus Thompson. He wanted to be an environmental engineer in 1985. His father told him it was a fad, that he should study mechanical engineering like a real man. Did he listen? No, because I told him the same thing I'm telling you. Your passion is not a phase, it's a calling. I handed her the letter. He's been designing wastewater treatment systems for 30 years now. He's helped provide clean water to over 2 million people. He credits our conversations for giving him the courage to fight for his dream. Emma read the letter, her eyes getting misty. Grandma, this is incredible. I have 23 more just like it. Scientists, activists, teachers, doctors, all of them had someone tell them to quit, to be practical, to settle. None of them listened. I took her hands. You're going to join them. You're going to do something that matters. And 20 years from now, some kid is going to swim in a cleaner ocean because you didn't give up. She was crying now, but smiling through the tears. How do you know? Because I know you, and I know that people who care as deeply as you do find a way. We sat there for a while, going through more letters. Each one was a story of persistence, of fighting against doubt and discouragement. Each one was proof that dreams, even impractical ones, could change the world. Emma left around 10, taking 3 of the letters with her. She said she wanted to read them when she felt discouraged. I watched her car disappear down the street, feeling that maybe, just maybe, I'd given her what she needed. The next morning, I got a call from Robert. Margaret, you need to come to the store, now. His voice was strange, not upset exactly, but urgent. I drove over, my mind racing through possibilities. Had Mrs. Volkov done something? Filed a complaint? Vandalized the store? When I walked in, Robert was standing behind the counter with Emma. They both looked serious. What's wrong? I asked. Emma held up her phone. Mrs. Volkov posted about us on Facebook, in the local community group. My stomach dropped. What did she say? She said you assaulted her. That you physically pushed her out of the store and threatened her. That's a complete lie. I never touched her. We know. Robert's jaw was tight. But she's got 70 comments agreeing with her. People are saying they'll boycott the store. Someone's threatening to report us to the police. I felt dizzy. This was worse than I'd imagined. I'm so sorry. I'll fix this. I'll apologize to her. No. Emma's voice was firm. You're not apologizing for standing up for me. Emma, the store has security cameras. Robert pulled out his laptop. Margaret, we have video of the entire interaction. You never touched her. You told her to leave. She threatened you. Then she left on her own. Relief flooded through me. So we can prove she's lying. Better. Emma was typing on her phone. We're going to post the video with context. Emma, are you sure? That'll escalate things. She looked at me with something new in her eyes, something steel-hard and determined. Grandma, you taught me that standing up for what's right matters more than being comfortable. Mrs. Volkov is trying to destroy your reputation because you wouldn't let her manipulate me anymore. That's not okay. But your uncle's store will be fine. Robert was uploading the video. I'm tired of letting bullies control the narrative. Time to show people what really happened. They posted it together. The video showed everything. Mrs. Volkov's cruel words to Emma, my calm request for her to leave, her threats and lies about knowing people who could ruin us. The audio was crystal clear. Robert added a caption. This is what actually happened when we asked a customer to leave our store. She told my niece, a marine science student, to abandon her dreams and stay here to give cheaper fabric cuts. My sister asked her to leave. No assault, no threats, just boundaries. Draw your own conclusions. We waited. 5 minutes. 10. Then the comments started rolling in. Holy crap, she completely lied about being assaulted. I know this. Lady, she pulled something similar at the craft store last year. Good for you for defending your granddaughter. That was so cruel what she said. As a marine biologist, thank you for supporting young scientists. We need more people like Emma. Within an hour, Mrs. Volkov's original post was getting flooded with people calling her out. She deleted it, but screenshots had already spread. The local news Facebook page picked up the story. By evening, we had people stopping by the store just to say they supported us. Emma was glowing. Grandma, look at this comment. It's from Dr. Sarah Chen at the university. She teaches in the oceanography department. She says if I want to talk about research opportunities, I should email her. That's wonderful, honey. She also said what you did reminded her of her own grandmother, who supported her when everyone else told her Asian women couldn't be scientists. Emma's voice cracked. This is so much bigger than just Mrs. Volkov. She was right. By the end of the week, we'd received dozens of messages from young people saying the video inspired them to keep pursuing difficult dreams. Emma had connected with 5 other marine science students in the area. Dr. Chen had indeed offered her a position in her lab for the spring semester. But the biggest surprise came on Saturday. Mrs. Volkov walked into the store. I tensed immediately, but Robert stepped forward. Ma'am, you're not welcome here. I know. Her voice was quiet, subdued, nothing like the demanding tone from before. I came to apologize. Emma and I exchanged glances. This felt like a trap. Mrs. Volkov continued. My daughter called me. She saw the video. She told me I was being just like my mother-in-law was to me 40 years ago. Her eyes were red. I didn't realize. I thought I was being helpful, practical. You told my granddaughter her dreams were worthless, I said evenly. I know, and I was wrong. She looked at Emma. My daughter is a veterinarian. She wanted to be one since she was 6 years old. I supported her completely, but somehow I don't extend that same support to other young people. My therapist says it's because I'm bitter about my own choices. You're seeing a therapist? Emma asked. As of 3 days ago, my daughter insisted. Mrs. Volkov clutched her purse. I can't undo what I said, but I want you to know that I'm working on understanding why I said it, and I truly hope you succeed in saving the ocean. Someone should. She turned to leave, then paused. For what it's worth, I'm glad you had a grandmother who fought for you. I wish I had too. Then she was gone. The 3 of us stood there in silence. Did that just happen? Emma finally asked. I think people are more complicated than we give them credit for, I said slowly. Hurt people, but sometimes when they're confronted with what they've done, they try to change. Do you think she'll actually change? Emma asked. I don't know, but I think being held accountable was the first step. Robert shook his head. I still can't believe this all started because you told her to leave. It started because Emma matters, I corrected. And I wasn't going to stand by and watch someone crush her spirit. That evening, Emma posted her own video. She talked about her passion for marine science, the challenges of pursuing environmental work, and the importance of having people who believe in you. She thanked me publicly, which made me cry into my soup. But more importantly, she talked about Mrs. Volkov's apology, about how easy it would have been to stay angry, but how much braver it was to acknowledge that people could grow and change. She urged other young people to find their advocates, but also to be advocates for each other. The video went viral. Not huge viral, but local news segment viral, which at 71 was plenty viral enough for me. The next week, Emma had her finals. She aced all of them. Over winter break, she worked at the store, but with new confidence. When customers asked about her studies, she spoke passionately about ocean acidification and plastic pollution. Most people were supportive. A few were dismissive. But now, Emma just smiled and said, "My grandmother taught me that people who try to kill your dreams are usually mourning their own. I'm not letting that be my story." And she didn't. 6 months later, Emma published her first research paper as an undergraduate co-author. It was about microplastic distribution in coastal waters. Small, but significant. A beginning. She framed it and hung it in the fabric store, right behind the counter. Robert put a little plaque underneath. "Dreams in progress, supported by stubborn grandmothers everywhere." I look at it every time I work my shifts now. It reminds me that standing up for people you love is never a waste, that boundaries aren't cruel, they're necessary, that 71 isn't too old to fight battles that matter. Mrs. Volkov never came back to the store, but her daughter did, once. She bought fabric for her own daughter's science fair project about marine biology. She thanked me for setting boundaries with her mother, said it was the wake-up call their whole family needed. Emma's in graduate school now, studying deep-sea ecosystems. She calls me every Sunday, updates me on her research, asks for advice on handling difficult professors and funding challenges. Each time, I remind her of what I told her that day in the fabric store. Fear means it matters, so do it anyway. Last month, she sent me a photo. She was on a research vessel, somewhere in the Pacific, surrounded by scientific equipment and ocean as far as the eye could see. She looked tired and happy and exactly where she belonged. The caption read, "Thanks for kicking out that customer, Grandma. Best thing that ever happened to me." I printed it and put it in my box of letters. Someday, when Emma has her own granddaughter, maybe she'll pull it out and tell her own story about standing up for dreams. About how one angry old woman in a fabric store changed everything. About how love sometimes looks like saying no. About how the ocean is worth saving, and so are the people who want to save it. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Would you have banned the customer or tried to smooth things over to keep the peace? And have you ever had someone try to talk you out of your dreams?